Top of the morning, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Amir Khan. Amir Khan wants Kell Brook in one more dance before closing the curtains on his career. And he says, I want one more dance, said Khan. Kell Brook is the one that was calling me out all this time. And now we're coming to a stage where I've said, let's make it happen. It's funny because Kell Brook isn't really responding. Now, of course, at one point, Kell Brook and Amir Khan was considered one of the best fights to be made. We know that, with Kell Brook, he had the IBF titles from 2014 to 2017. And Amir Khan was 34-5 and 21, was one of the best at that time. Neither side appeared to want to have the fight as bad as they claimed. However, with Khan staring at his boxing morality directly in the face, and with Brook coming off a fourth-round stoppage defeat of the hands of Terence Crawford, Khan believes this is the time to fight now. The former Olympian silver medalist does admit that their best days are long behind them, but still he firmly believes that it's a blockbuster level fight. It's still a big British fight. People will still want to tune in. I know we're past our primes of our careers, but it's still a fight people would like to see. Okay. Let me counterpunch. Amir Khan versus Kell Brook at this point. This is one of the reasons why you shouldn't let fights go stale or go cold or get too old, to let people drag on the idea, because people get tired. People get tired of waiting. People get tired of sitting there wondering when these guys are going to get together and fight, despite what the public wants. That's what polls are for. That's what social media is for. People tell you what they want, okay? Will it be a good British fight? Yeah. It'll probably be the equivalent of something like Derek Chisora versus Dillian White now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be on that level. It wouldn't be on a higher level than that, if not parallel, because those are heavyweights, and the heavyweight division is booming right now. So, but that would require Dillian White to lost to Povetkin to even have a fight that is level with this type of fight. Amir Khan fighting Kell Brook now, yeah, it'd be a good British scrap. People would show up, the ones that could, but it's not like it could have been. The potential of that fight 4 or 5 years ago would have been massive. Like a couple American broadcasters, somebody over here would have picked it up. Okay, because both of those guys, with Kell Brook being the lesser known, but really having the most success. Strangely to say, Kell Brook upset Sean Porter undefeated. Okay, Errol Spence went to the UK and took that IBF strap off of Brook after he got his eye busted from Gennady Golovkin. So I think that fight was a career decision that he shouldn't have made. However, it happened nonetheless. Okay. But Amir Khan was the highest. He was the most known. He was the guy that shot for all the top fighters. He was knocked out cold with Canelo. He was beaten by Danny Garcia. They robbed him against Lamont Peterson. They did. That was just an inside job, I feel. But nonetheless, those guys couldn't come together from their own country and get together and make a fight that they needed for the fans. So, could the fight happen? Yeah. But here's the thing. If Brook's not responding, he might not even want the fight. Both of these guys were beaten by Terence Crawford. Amir Khan, I knew it was like at the end of his rope, the way he quit against Terence Crawford. Oh, yeah, he quit. He quit. Because a guy like Amir Khan, you have to knock him out. That was his old spirit in his prime. Like, Canelo knocked him out. Danny Garcia, they just had to stop it because he wasn't trying to quit. He just got hit with a really big shot that put him down. That shot he probably would never have recovered from. But what I'm trying to say is he did not quit. With Terrence Crawford, he quit. He said he didn't even want to fight. So you knew, okay, yeah, Amir Khan's on his way out. Maybe a couple more fights after that, and actually he only fought once more after that before hanging up the gloves, and Billy Dibbs, I believe he fought. But other than that, no. He didn't even want anymore. So I think at this point now, he's trying to give the fans what they want to see now. But of course, that was an outdated concept. Okay. You don't do things backwards. And then this is what happens. Hey, I'm coming to the end of my rope or my career, like we heard Amir Khan say. Then, oh, hey, yeah, let me fight Kell Brook. Why Kell Brook? Because Kell Brook is the biggest name that he can make money off of before getting out of the sport. So if he can make $5 to $7 million on that particular fight, fighting someone like Kell Brook now, he would be obliged to. Versus back then, it wasn't worth it because if Kell Brook beat him, chinned him, that would stop everything that he did up to this point. That's why Amir Khan didn't really want that fight like that. Like he said, all those times that Kell Brook was calling me out, he was calling you out. Now you're saying, hey, I want to fight, but then it's like little boy cried wolf. Like, how do we know that you're serious at this point? I've been calling you out for years. These guys been on talk shows together where Amir Khan's saying that I'm going to knock you out. And then, they have this back and forth on live television, British live television, saying I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But nothing happened at the end of the day. Nothing. Now, oh yeah, it's time to have that fight. Let me wait till the end of my career to fight. And anytime any fighter does that, that fighter is the fighter that they had concern or worry about. Okay, that's all that is. Okay, regardless of what people think, when a fighter waits to the very end of his career, regardless of what happened in his career, to fight a particular fighter, that particular fighter could have his number. So if they did fight and Kell Brook knocked out Amir Khan, boom. Okay, nobody would argue that, hey, Brook could have done that shit 5 years ago. Right? But anyway, that's what we're looking at. Amir Khan wants that last hoorah. I say, why not? I mean, better late than never, but, it could have been so much more. So, that's just life lessons on why you shouldn't wait on big fights and think that they're going to build and think it's going to hold people's attention waiting, because it's not going to. Because as soon as one of you guys get beaten, that's exactly what happened. We're going to move on to the next. That's what we do. It's the natural progression of how things work. Hey, you snooze, you lose. You waited out that fighter. Both of you guys get defeated. It happened then. It happened back then, and it will happen once again. Okay. If you look at Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, all it takes is one of those guys to get beaten, and that fight didn't mean shit anyway. That's all what people say. Oh, okay, yeah, all right. And depends on who loses. Like, let's say if Terrence Crawford gets upset. What people are going to say is, hey, you know what? He wouldn't have beat Errol Spence anyway. Errol Spence gets beat. You know what? He's glad he didn't get in there with Bud, because Bud would have did the same thing. That's what we do. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Amir Khan taking on Kell Brook for the first time, wanting this fight for real for the first time. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.